When I first start, it actually looks like this. Of course, these are thicker willows because this is for a different material. I lay down my willows all in a row, and then I continue weaving this bottom part right here. If I wanted a bigger basket, I guess I would go about this wide too. Depends on what kind of basket and what you want to use it for. There's different shapes and sizes for all different things. And I just start right here after I lay all my willows down and continue going back and forth. But the thing is on here, so the willows won't slip out, I get the bottom of the willow, and as it's nice and wet, I just give it a little turn. I had my little tool here. I give my willow a little turn like this, and I'd turn a few of them, not the whole lot of them, but maybe at least 6 or 7, and I'd turn them like this and whip my willow around, my weaving willow around them, like I have here. So you could see the ones that are turned. That's so they won't, this won't pull away. It holds it firmly together. See? If I didn't have them turned, I could probably pull the whole thing out. And that keeps it firmly together when you, because this is where your hand is going to be most of the time. Everybody has their own way of putting their baskets together. And I guess we just kind of play it by ear and learn as we go, because my mother never taught me how to make a winnowing basket. And as I was teaching the class at the Cultural Center, this is the little winnowing basket I made. And after at least about a good 6 months, there was only about 3 of us that stuck to the class. And 2 of us finished our little winnowing baskets, because that's how long it took. Because I told the ladies, I said, even if you go home, do continue working on it at home. But nobody worked on it at home. It was more fun to work in class. So it took us a long time. And if you don't work on it at home during your spare time, especially when you're in a class, it's a lot harder when you don't get it done. See, I just tie it in a little knot. Pull it hard. Keep your willows damp so they won't get brittle and break. And there's another thing too, when you put your, getting ready to weave, it's really important that you put the surface, that's a shiny surface, on top. The shiny surface is on the outside of the willow. And that's the side that's not going to kind of, sometimes your willow will flake, but that's the side that's not going to flake if your willow is cleaned right. And so this is the inside of the willow, which when you weave, you put it on the inside like this. So I got my willows down the way I want them. So get comfortable. This is the technique of my style of weaving. Let me see what I'm going. Okay, sometimes I go 1 at a time. This time I'm going 2 at a time. 2 of the long willows that I'm putting together. I like to kind of pull it firm. I really don't use any kind of a measuring anything to measure it with. I usually eyeball it. And I really don't know how our old people did it. I think they just freehand it. And I always wondered how they did their weaving, and I thought, well, you know, our people a long time ago, they weren't in a rush. They didn't have really any place to go like the modern day people nowadays. We're always in a rush to get here and a rush to get there. But they just sat at home at ease and did their willow work and whatever they really had to do, and it was comfortable. What I'm doing now is I'm weaving my weaving willows into the willows, and I go over and come under, and I go over and come under. Okay, that is under and this is over. And when you put the willow that you go over with, you come back under with it. Over and under. This is just the basic weave that I learned, and if there's any other way, I really don't know of the other way of weaving willows, although all tribes have their own way of weaving different things. This is mainly the standard way of weaving. But the winnowing basket you use for your whatever material you're going to get, mainly like your food material, and that's why I have these little spaces in here. That's for the particles you don't want to fall through, and you don't make it as fine as you would like for a little sifter, or if you for your fine grain, whatever you get in the field, so they won't fall through. You know, for years we've gotten just willows anywhere we wanted to go. So our little favorite spot was what we call the school trail from the Big Pine Indian Camp. And there was a creek running by, and it was always running by except for in the winter time. And we got our willows there, and they were just beautiful willows, nice, good straight willows. So now these last 6-7 years, the Department of Water and Power trims the willows every year, and now we don't even have willows no more where our favorite spot was. They're usually all cut down, and I really feel sad because I could, you know, my mom and I went out there to gather willows, and we'd talk and visit, and those were the like what you'd call now the good old days. I guess maybe that's the way our old people did a long time ago, when they took their young daughters out there and showed them how to get willows and visited and laughed and all that. And so she even showed my granddaughters now where to get willows and how to clean them. And okay, now I reached the other side, kind of lopsided here, but I got my little tool over here to straighten it out. So I turned around and I'm going back. And the way I weave my willows, if I were to turn it this way, I'd be weaving backwards. And I've actually probably could do it, but I've never really picked up the technique to weave backwards yet. So I flip my winnowing basket over, and I'm weaving it from the back side. But what I do, I gave my willow a little twist, so like the shiny side I said would still continue to show from the inside. So I just continuing on the same thing I started, but just from the back side. Some people weave one at a time. Some people would weave two at a time. But I don't know why I thought I'm going to weave three at a time this time. So I'm going back and forth three at a time, and in my mind, it'll be more sturdier. So that's why I'm doing three at a time on this basket. And the weaving technique is to go over, under, and over and under, and it's just one continually move to hold the willows together. So that's what I'm doing. And this one I'll go over, under, and come out and just do the same thing over and over again. And that's what we call weaving.